Bulls Nation, and welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast presented to you by PointsBet. Don't forget that promo code CHGO when you sign up to live your bet life. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. This is my guy waving at you, Big Dave. He is at BAW, BAWL Sports. And joining us in studio,
this man,
in case you were living under a rock for the last couple of weeks and didn't hear the news, one of the newest members of our CHGO family, covering with our CHGO Bears crew this football season, a longtime voice in the world of Chicago sports talk, yes. Chicago Sports Talk Radio, yes. WGN, yes. 87.7 The Game back in the day, fan-sided, and if I were a betting man, which I am, I would say probably top 5 as far as total number of appearances on the long-running Sports Talk Live.
I'm up there, that's for sure. Good to be with you guys.
Mark Carman, ladies and gentlemen.
How about his name?
I was so unbelievably smiley and happy this morning when I got the Slack message from Matt, which was sent yesterday that I didn't see. I'm still getting my bearings here.
Yeah.
You know, you want to come on the show today? I'm like, hells yes, I do. So, and I already have my the shot shirt on this morning.
That was his response. He was like, dude, I already had my MJ the shot shirt on, so yes, I would love to come on. I was like, cool, then I'll wear mine today too.
Oh, see, I didn't get the memo. I was just repping DMVR, excuse me.
Yeah, baby.
I'm just repping. All city. We all city right here. We all city right here.
Follow Mark Carman on Twitter at the Carm if you aren't already to get all of his Bears thoughts this season and any and all of his Chicago sports thoughts. Before we dive into getting Mark's thoughts on the Bulls this offseason and the season upcoming, we want to talk to you about your career and some of the time you spent covering the Bulls, but I wanted to start off with a short story.
Okay.
And Carm, I don't even know if you remember this. You probably don't. You were one of the first people I met in one of my first foot in the door moments back in this was late 2014, early 2015.
Okay.
I had decided that I didn't want to be an actor anymore and I wanted to work in sports media, and I moved back home to Chicago.
Or did acting decided?
It was a me decision.
It was you decision. All right.
I mean, acting definitely showed me the door, but it was a me decision.
But it was your decision to walk through.
No, I was in New York, and instead of going out on auditions, I was watching sports all day, every day.
There it is.
But so, through a mutual family friend, one of the first people I got connected to was David Haw, who was doing the Cap and Haw radio show back in the day, right?
Okay.
And you would would screen calls for them, produce for them, and sometimes you would be on the mics with them. And Haw, after a couple of email exchanges, and he came on my online podcast that I was doing that maybe 5 people listened to, he invited me to come and sit in on one of the Cap and Haw shows, at the WGN studio.
Wow.
And you were there that day working with them. And so after the show wrapped up, I was chatting with Haw a little bit about what I was trying to do, what I was trying to get into. I didn't know anybody, didn't know a damn thing. And you and I met, and we had a brief little chat. And you were asking me a little bit about my background. I was like, yeah, kind of done the acting thing, but now I want to get into sports media. And one of the most brutally honest things that anyone has ever told me
Let's go.
was Mark Carm saying off the cuff, just wow, so, you decided that trying to break into show business wasn't hard enough, and now you want to do sports media?
I definitely, if I said that, that's terrible.
But legit, I appreciated the raw honesty of it. Because of course, coming into it, I was like, I'm sure this is going to be hard. I'm sure I'm going to have to work my tail off, but I want to make this happen. And plenty of people who would give me advice were like, yeah, man, it's tough.
You know what was great about that? The whole time, I could just feel Carm looking like, where's this going?
Yeah.
Where's this going, man?
Well, I know, because I honestly don't remember the moment, but but. First of all, shout out David Haw, who does stuff like that all the time.
Guy.
And he's such a good person and a huge fan of David's. And I do know that when most people come getting in the business, because listen, my path has not been linear. This is a dive around, a fire.
I don't know
around.
if anyone's is linear.
That's
right.
True.
So I always say to people, for real, you can do it. You just have to really, really want it and not care about the money and not care about the hours and not care about what you're giving up. And if that doesn't matter to you and you are grinder, then it can be done. And both of you are examples of it. I mean, you've been grinding on this Bulls scene for a long time. Congratulations. This obviously is a huge best opportunity for you. So Hell's yes,
dude. It's
Big
just
time.
like we're so thrilled to have you as part of the CHGO family,
Yeah,
and it's just so funny to me. Like I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, dude, I'm so excited to have Mark Carman on chatting Bulls with us because we've crossed paths a couple of times over the years, but I still think back to that first time I met you when I was just hanging out at the at the WGN studio after Cap and Haw, being like so wide eyed and just like I don't know what I'm doing, and Mark Carman saying, "Oh yeah," basically subtext, "Fucking good luck, man."
Well, at that, I wonder, was that the TV Cap and Haw version? Had the game failed at that point?
I can't remember. Like I remember they were on TV still at that point.
Okay, well, so the TV it's just probably too much Cap and Haw thing, but the TV lasted after the station fell. So I could have been in the mood of like, this radio station just went down. I finally got my shot to host a night show in Chicago, and it lasted 9 months. That sucked, even though I was super happy to have it. Anybody who worked there back in the day, we all got opportunities that we wouldn't have gotten. So nothing but love for those guys.
Yeah.
So I wish it would have lasted
Good dudes.
longer.
And you never got sick of all that David Kaplan time, doing Cap and Haw, doing all those Sports Talk Live segments.
Cap rescued me from internet D2 play-by-play broadcasting, which I loved also, St. Edward's University. Shout out to the Hilltoppers, Austin, Texas. But Cap hired me to be his producer 05 to 07, and then I was like, I got to get, actually 07, 09, I got to get myself on the air, so I went down to Kansas City, and then I worked my way back, and that's when I met you with the Cap and Haw 87-7 the game, all that. So
what was that moment for you? Like that bright-eyed moment where you were like, "Oh crap, what is going on here? This is crazy."
Yeah, you talking about meeting him?
No. Your version of that.
His version. Because his version, he was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, just taking it all in for the first time, and it was probably a little overwhelming.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, I think back to being, getting. I think I got out of Iowa. I had a psychology degree. Yeah. I'm taking classes at Columbia College to try to get an internship. How does this work? And I remember being at, I think I had just an on-field pass to a game at Wrigley, and I'm overhearing these people talking about this thing that was called the sports ticker, which I didn't know what it was. But you would sit there on the phone during the game and tell somebody on the other line, ball, strike, ground out, 6-3. That was the gig.
The sports version of movie phone,
right? And so, I hear some dude tell Bruce Levine, hey, I can't do the ticker tomorrow. Sorry about that. And so I walked up to him and was like, "Hey, my name's Carm. Can I help you out with that ticker thing?" And he's like, didn't even look up from his seat. "What's your name? What's your background? What's this?" And he's like, "I'll let you know." And so a day later he calls me. It's like, "Hey, if you can do it, go on it." And so that I remember I had an actual credential. I was going to get in the locker room, and I'm driving down, and the Wallflowers was playing. What's that?
One Headlight?
Yes, One Headlight's playing. It's a rainy day. I'm driving in my Ford Escort, and I'm like, all right, this is happening. I'm in. And so that memory always kind of floods back to I'm getting to do this in some form in some form today.
That's when you know it's real, man.
Yeah, right.
That's when you know it's real. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, even just walking into NBC the first day of that gig, I remember looking around and being like, there's Cap.
Yeah.
There's Mark Schanowski.
Yeah.
There's Ozzie Guillen.
We talk about that often, how we saw Kendall Gill, who I'd seen many times before. I saw Will Perdue, which was like, oh snap, but it was Mark Schanowski for me and him when we were like, oh crap.
well, that's such a weird entry into all of it. From jumping to, you have a show on NBC. I mean, that is why that was.
Yeah,
really
up until that
cool.
point, we were just a couple of guys that had their own independent Bulls podcast,
right.
It was TV was a different world.
John didn't even have that.
John was doing improv Shakespeare.
And kicking it.
Where did your Bulls fandom start?
So I've got two older brothers, plus 20, plus 15. So I was raised as basketball was in the household. So I was going, not to date myself, but I was going to games pre-Mike. I remember, we would one time we had 2 tickets. the seats that were on the floor along the hockey boards.
Yeah.
So we had 2 seats on the floor, one up probably, in the mezz. Like, hey, okay, Mark, you go with Dave. You'll sit down there. Bruce will hop over, and you'll watch Otis Birdsong and throwing out random old school net names from,
Yeah.
And so
watching Ennis Watley run the point
exactly.
every once in a while.
Great man. Love him. I got to talk to around the Last Dance. I caught up with Enos. It was awesome. But I was going to games before Mike, and then his rookie year, first playoff win, we had seats in the mezzanine on the bend and all that, and missed the dunk, and Sidney Moncrief I think was throwing up a 675 footer. So growing up with MJ, you could not have a better sports childhood. I remember going to the year they lost. The last year they lost to the Pistons, lost in 7. Game 3, they're down 11 at half. It was the whole thing with the Jordan rules. Jordan wasn't speaking in the media. He ends up with 47 in the game. They win. They're back in the series. At that point, it literally felt like they were never going to win, never get over the hump. And I remember getting in my dad's car after the game, and we'd always listen to the post-game show, R.I.P. Chet Kopic. Yes. I'm like, you can't even put it on. I'm too exhausted from that experience because I hated. We talked this week Bears Packers rivalry. There will never be, for me, there will never be a rivalry like Bulls Pistons where I literally the Pistons were the first team to have the team playing, right?
Yes.
So
right.
Me and my friends, and I don't know how much trouble I could get in. We wanted to bomb that plane. We were legit, it was that we hated
you.
That.
You had much darker thoughts than just trying to send them a poisoned pizza.
Yeah. Right. I hated Isaiah. I hated Rodman.
Lambeer. Come on.
I just legit despised. When they would come out of their locker room, ladies and gentlemen, the Detroit Pistons, they'd run on the floor to warm up. Lambeer would lead them out, and he'd go down to the other end, dunk it with 2 hands. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it's 20 minutes before tip off. I want I want to kill the guy. So. It was everyone talks about the 90s Bulls. I don't want to say I had more fun in the 80s than the 90s, but the run up and Mike being young and 37 a night and
getting over the hump is a part of the enjoyment of fandom.
This moment that could be my all-time euphoric Bulls moment. Season's over.
Do you remember where you were Game 5 '89?
So Game 5 '89 at home on the couch. My dad has no reaction to anything ever in life. He's a pretty muted man.
Yeah.
He got up off the couch, and I was running around in the house the phone's ringing off the hook. I'm calling up on one buddy from high school who's a Cavs fan. It was just and that was it. You're with us or you're not at that point.
Right.
We're going. We're gonna beat Patino in the press, and then they're up 2-1 on Detroit after the banker. Right. I'm in old school land, but and then when the dynasty ended the way it ended. I blamed Jerry Krause.
Sure.
So it took me really until D Rose to come along.
Yeah.
For the real. I loved Ben Gordon. I felt that was
didn't have a lot of fun in those Floyd years though.
Yeah. No. I hated the team. I was so
It was hard to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. So but when Pax got in there, and then and BG comes around, and then we get to Derek and Joakim. The love came back. So, it will never be quite to that level. But I love the hoop. I love the team, and so that's kind of my Bulls journey, I guess.
See, I love that because I always tell people you can tell who grew up with those 6 titles. Some people called it kind of on the tail end when they were rock stars already.
Right.
And some people you can talk to and just tell they haven't seen winning at all as a Bulls fan.
Right.
But you understand it because you actually saw the birth of it and went through it. So those feelings, the shot, that euphoria of what that meant, because what it felt like leading up to all of that.
Yeah, and I in the year the 85 Bears won the Super Bowl. I'm this young Bulls fan, and and Jordan's hurt second year. Bulls are drawing flies, and the Bears come to play at halftime a pickup game,
right.
and the place is sold out. Mm-hmm. And I'm I wanted the Bulls to have that shine without Jim McMahon and Walter Payton showing up to play hoop. So it was cool to see just the rise of like.
Watch Ricky Sobers, man.
Yeah, right.
He was on it, bro.
Quentin Daly was my guy.
Rory Sparrow, bro.
Every time Q got in the paper with another cocaine thing,
Yes.
it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. Come on,
George Gervin,
yeah,
too.
old George.
Old
Yeah.
George, yeah.
Yep.
No, you definitely, and that's what I like so much about it is you understand what it meant to have that sense of invincibility for the Chicago Bulls at that point in time, because it was like for me it was like 92.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite one. That was what the year where I was just like, nobody in the world, I don't care what sport they're playing, nobody in the world is beating the Chicago Bulls.
You're right.
This is it. And for you to understand and have that and be able to articulate it like that is
I remember those conversations too. People like, well, who do you think's winning? The Bulls are winning. No one's beating Mike.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's not happening.
It's like whenever
Right.
Dave sees one of any sports, Twitter account that does one of those like which team you picking, and it's just like an amalgamation of different NBA players spanning. His answer always is which team Mike on.
That's it.
Right.
That's the answer. Like,
Well,
we win it.
Which is that. Let's just shout out to, or not a shout out, but like to a challenge to all the Bulls. It's like the dynasty was done, dude. You do not know. You don't know. Let them lose.
Man.
Let them lose. Listen, the dynasty at the park. You get beat at the park. In the NBA, let them walk off. No shame.
Yeah.
We can all have our couple tears come out. Let Mike shake somebody's hand and walk out of here.
Sure.
That's how it should have gone down. They should have been beaten.
Should have had that moment and been beaten, but.
Yeah.
It's nice to be 6-0 though.
It is
I can't front. It's nice to be undefeated.
Such a neat, tidy package.
Nice.
We probably would have lost in like the conference semis or whenever it happened. Not that year.
Yeah.
Not that 99 was.
See,
was
that's why it's great because
Yeah.
it's just all maybe, kind of, shoulda.
Right.
But it's hard for me to say and even believe because I'm like, Mike's still playing. Like it's hard for me to be like, I'm losing, and I never saw it.
6-0 does carry the legacy in a
3
lot
in a
of
row twice.
Yeah,
Bro.
in the legacy debate that people love to have, like if Mike had never won a title and like if he had broken his in '91, if he had tore his knee or whatever out and never won, I still would have said greatest player I've ever seen, MJ. Period. End of story. But that's not how these narratives work.
It wouldn't have been globally accepted.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
It
Just
wouldn't
would have been in your heart.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
we're always going to have guys around like your boy Nick Wright.
Yeah, well, right, and that is my guy, and he just, not everybody not everybody has every opinion is correct.
Everybody's got the right to be wrong.
And let's be honest, LeBron James has made Nick Wright a whole lot of dough.
Hey,
Yeah.
a whole lot,
I was
man.
just earlier today sitting over there reading this new Vanity Fair piece about him and his family and the life of luxury they live. I was like,
pretty nice, right?
damn, that looks pretty great.
Pretty good to be king.
We got plenty more coming up on today's CHGO Bulls, but our guy Mark Carman sitting in with us in studio, including getting some thoughts on Mark's time covering the Bulls, including one epic moment with Joakim. We'll get to that coming up next. But first, today's episode brought to you guys by PointsBet and that promo code at PointsBet CHGO. This football season, PointsBet's bringing you a better way to bet live on games. You can place a live same-game parlay, bet on the next drive to be a touchdown, and cash out on your live second-half over bet. With PointsBet, you have access to more live football markets than ever before. Build the perfect live same-game parlay by combining your favorite bets anytime during the game, including spreads, totals, props, and more. Choose the outcome of the next drive and next points with PointsBet Lightning Bets. So whether you are on the move or on the couch, do it live at PointsBet. Download that PointsBet app today. Signing up with promo code CHGO to get those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. How
much?
Lightning Bets NFL is back.
2,000, you said?
$2,000.
Just remember, it's free, so make sure you bet that full $2,000 and cash in. Do not make that mistake. Go for the gold.
Go for the gold.
All in.
Yeah.
He's all in on it.
Listen to Carm,
Listen to
y'all.
Carm, dang it.
I mean, that is a basic but I feel like some people might not quite get that one. $2,000.
So Mark, we were. We got another
I got one more.
We got another one.
I've got one. Carm, you'll
So many
appreciate
sponsors.
this. You'll appreciate this, Carm. Hey, Matt.
What
time is it? Game time. It's the hottest new ticket site, y'all. That makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sporting events, concerts, and shows. Let me ask you a question. You ever dreamed of sitting in that seat you never thought you could sit in ever? Of
course, yes.
You know, that 50-yard line. You know, that courtside next to Jack Nicholson. I mean, even shout out Gene Siskel, rest in peace. You know, those kind of seats right there. Don't you want those? You know, behind home plate, those floor seats at the concert. It's possible, y'all, to get that with the Gametime app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on seats you thought you could never afford or never buy. You won't find a better deal this season on Bulls tickets. I'll say it again. You won't find a better deal this season on Chicago Bulls tickets. And just like CHGO is created by the fans and for the fans, it guarantees you the lowest price, all right? And if you love CHGO, as we know you do, then you will love Gametime. The best way to support us is buying your tickets through the link at that description, y'all. Join over the 15 million people, Joey's one of them, who have downloaded the Gametime app and scored the best seats of your life to all your favorite events. Because as Matt told you earlier, what time is it?
Game time. Who? Man, I actually just used it earlier today to nab a bleacher seat for Cubs 120 on Friday.
Well done, sir.
Super fast. Great
simple.
cheap ticket price.
Did that take it down from like $6 to $4 or what?
A deal's a deal.
I agree.
That's all
Listen,
I know.
I bought 14 bleacher tickets earlier this year like an idiot.
Yeah.
Why did you buy 14 bleacher tickets?
Because, Cody got me in the mindset that the Cubs were going to be a decent team.
That just goes to show you never listen to Cody.
No, I did it. I did it.
He's giving you betting advice.
I did it long before the company launched. It's just I said, that's a good deal.
That's some baller
14
stuff
games
right
at Wrigley Field. Guess how many they've won that I've been there for?
How many?
1.
Oh, man. You been to all 14?
At least you got one.
No, I've been to like 10 though, and
been
they've
to 10
lost
and they're
like
1 and 9?
they've lost like 9.
Oh, man. Yeah, stop going, Joe.
Shout out to the folks hanging out in the comments. Our guy Salim of Bulls Gold is here. Daddy Fish, Cameron. I love that we live in Illinois where I can read this person's username. Blaze the Nugs says, it's the Carminator. Sup, Carm. Go Bears, go Bulls. See you at the Arby's on Friday, Holmes.
Hey.
Just make sure it's not a Hardee's because apparently weird shit goes down at Hardee's.
Yeah,
you might get
any of that means. I saw
searched
y'all.
by the FBI.
That's what that. Okay, I got it now.
That was an amazing Matt Peck retweet. Real life, right here.
Real life, man.
Yeah,
it's not a skit.
I hate that he sounds like the stereotype dumb Bears fan.
Yeah.
It's the words.
The end of it was the best. That was the best part. Showing people, oh yeah, by the way, they told me not to talk about this. Oh my God.
Shout out also to our friends over in the UK, C-Red UK. What's going on, y'all?
What up,
awesome.
Dan? What's going on?
Dan saying Carm and Big Dave on the same panel. That's my fam
man,
right
Dan
there.
Levy, baby. My man Dan Levy.
Best voice in radio /
my
internet.
guy. Went to Columbia together, man. It's my
is
guy.
that right?
Oh yeah. It's my
What's
guy.
up, dude? How you doing, buddy?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I love it. That's going. That's how's it going.
Radio production. I should be hosting.
So, Carm, you and
Shout
I were
out.
chatting the other day, and you mentioned, and again, I hate to do this to you, but you were telling me that you got your first credential in 1998.
Yes. Yes.
Spanning all of those years, and I know that you've, whether it be for WGN or someone else, it's not like you've been exclusively Bulls. You've covered anything and everything in the city of Chicago. When you have been at Bulls games, in Bulls locker rooms, are there certain moments that stand out in particular to you? And in what generation did you most enjoy it? Because obviously, as you said, Dynasty ends, and then you start working, covering Chicago sports.
I'll give you 2 mortifying early ones if you're willing to hear
Awesome.
them.
Of
Let's
course.
do it.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
All right, so 98 early season, Allen Iverson is I want to say it's his second year, okay? And they had won 26 odd games the year before. And so like everybody 98 they would all go like there would be like 12 deep, 30 deep to talk to Judd Bushler, Steve Kerr. I'm like, I'm not interested in that. Let me go do AI one-on-one. This is amazing. Or T-Mac was a rookie back then. Like, just you get all these guys. So I'm sitting there. So it's me and Alan one-on-one. I'm young and have no idea what I'm doing. So I just hey Alan, do y'all? And this is like maybe a 4-minute interview. Question 2: Do you guys think you're a playoff contender this year? And he looks at me. It's like game 3 of the season. And he's just, can we swear on the show? Yeah, I think we can. He's like, man, what the fuck you think I'm going to say? Of course we're a playoff contender. And I'm like, That's a great point, Alan. You're absolutely correct. What kind of moron would ask you in Game 3 of the season whether or not you can make the play? No, dude, we got no chance. I'm like, all right. And you shot me straight there, AI. I appreciate it. And I'm like, and so it wasn't my best interview, but it was a good.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. What the fuck do you think I'm gonna say? I'm like, AI, I love you even more now for that response.
Right.
That was
That
amazing.
largely predated the famous Westbrook. Man, what the fuck are you talking about?
With the face and everything. Shout out down there, Marvin. Mayberry.
It's just and this was like quiet pregame interview. AI had. He was exactly how you would think he would. He had all the chains, all the jewelry, and he would just throw it in the corner of his locker. They were meticulous. Like Ray Allen would come in there, he'd fold everything. But Jalen Rose was the same way when everything was meticulous. AI was like, let me just throw that $70,000 or whatever it is in the corner here. It didn't matter to him. So my Mike moment early was I go with Columbia College, right? They'd get you in there for a radio play-by-play.
Yeah.
So he's starting out early season. It's Vancouver, okay? His new book was coming out, so he had just been on Oprah. So he's in a great mood. They beat the Grizzlies by 20. He's going through each wave of media, and he's hanging around. And this is my first time in the locker room with Mike. And it's down to there's 12 of us, and he's just sitting there talking. Greatest moment ever, right? You're sitting there with my boom, 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 and I'm like, I gotta ask a question. This is my I've got every poster, I got the whole thing, and I feel like we're friends in my mind. So he was on Oprah, and they played an old video of him dancing to "How You Like Me Now."
Stacey King, I know it well.
Yeah, it's right.
On the mall video.
Jordan's wearing tank top and glasses,
the tie over sweater.
It just looks. The whole thing's ridiculous. Horace, it's got the whole thing. So and they played it on Oprah, and he's laughing about it. So I look at him, and I'm like, hey Mike, how about a little "How You Like Me Now" dance a la Oprah? That's what I said to this dude.
No,
Carm. And he just turns, he looks at me, and he's like, "Don't jump in," as in don't jump in the convo, and everyone laughs. Because the new guy just got shot, and Jordan leaves. So
that was it.
I'm like, I just lost another 60 seconds of just hang time with Mike. So those were.
Did everyone blame you for chasing him away?
I think everyone was just happy that they weren't the one to do it or whatever. That just
they could blame it on the new guy.
Yeah,
that's him.
So those were too early, and I don't know that moved all along to Joakim later down the road, but. It used to be the Bulls were the NBA in itself was it's so fun to cover because you get the 45 minutes of access before the game,
right?
And so Shaq's walking down the hall, and it just I just love the league. There's Kobe, there's RIP, all that stuff.
Was it harder for you to cover the Bulls after Jordan, like those dark years of Tim Floyd and all that? Was it tougher for you?
I career bouncing around at that point, the show that I was on that ended. When I got back in there consistently, it was in the Ben Gordon years, and then into
Baby Bulls,
into the Baby Bulls, and that's when really going out to the Berto Center, and they're deciding with what to do with the number one pick, and they walk out D Rose one day, and then they walk out Beasley, and I'm like, this is not close. Beasley was just straight insane, and and Derek was super humble. I'm like, I'm really hoping this is going to be the choice, and then so, and Derek he's gotten so much, from different corners of here, come back, you're soft, all that stuff, and seeing how he handled it actually being covered, like Joe Colley, who's been around forever and has made a big name for himself and all that type of stuff, but Colley would kill him, and he would ask Derek questions in the post game. Derek would answer them. Wouldn't necessarily look at him but he'd always address him, and I always had just huge respect for Rose around that type of stuff. And I don't know. This is so many locker room stories that I'm skipping over right now.
Well,
we're here for Carm.
Speaking, you mentioned Joakim. You know what's on YouTube, Carm?
I know it's there.
What's that, Matt?
In case y'all have never seen this before,
It's on YouTube.
Joakim having a little laugh
my
at Carm's
email.
expense.
I didn't know it was on YouTube.
What's a YouTube?
What's a YouTube?
Look at young Joakim, by the way.
Oh my goodness.
Look at Matt. He
Look
can
at it.
handle this.
Oh man, am I young?
And
Look at young
too.
Carm.
Like, yeah, look at this. What is
Look
that?
at young
Is this a
Carm.
phone right there you're holding? Is that a BlackBerry?
Yeah, I'm filming him. Which
Oh,
is, I
man.
have it.
That's the black. Now that's taking it back on him.
So, all right, I'm not sure if the audio came through on the pod or on YouTube here, but just walk us through from your perspective what that exchange was,
Hurts my heart.
where you asked Joakim something and he was not a fan of the question.
So 2015, Bulls. Last time Bulls were actually in the championship conversation. D Rose hits the banker.
Yeah.
In that game, LeBron had got a backdoor on the baseline.
Hold on 1 sec, Carm. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think I got it here.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry if you don't want to be.
No, go ahead.
Thinks he got it.
Up.
Do it.
Oh, see?
You got it?
Nope.
I
don't have it. I don't have it. I take it back.
Good effort there, Joey.
I have it. I will
All
have
right.
it. Hold on.
I believe in you,
Do
Joey.
it for the Longhorns. Do it for Texas.
In the meantime,
Go ahead.
In the meantime, so Bron comes down the baseline, dunks on Noah, and they start jawing at each other, and Bron gets teed up, and Noah's clapping at him, crowd's going nuts. The Bulls end up winning the game, and so afterwards everyone's in a great mood. So I go up to Joe and I'm like, I thought a fine question. I'm like, did you enjoy the moment with LeBron on the baseline? Because, we had the clapping in the crowd and the whole thing with the Bulls. And he's like, and he just looked at me incredulously. He's like, when I got dunked on? and I had enough of a relationship with Joe at that point, like that I wasn't going to back down.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, when you got dunked on. and
Speak up. Right.
and then he like, so now I sort of on the challenge back. He's like, now he's like even more. But so why would I enjoy getting dunked on? And then I'm on my heels. I'm
Right.
like, I'm like, well, you get the crowd involved and da da da. And he's like, that's the stupidest question. Awful.
You got it ready, Joe?
Oh, here we go.
Did you say something to your first there?
Why would I enjoy getting dunked on?
I don't know. Well, you got the crowd going. You was hearing it. It was some emotion
I
there.
loved it. It was amazing. It's crazy. What a bad question.
What a bad question.
Joe, let me butt in.
Awful.
Joey get dunked?
Awful.
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right, Joe. I mean, I don't even know if I could redo it, if I would even approach. Like, I guess I just said, what happened with you and LeBron on the baseline? That's what I should have done.
Right.
That would have been way better.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you
In
enjoy
hindsight,
the moment? No, dude. No, I didn't fucking enjoy the moment. I fucking hate that guy.
With your family.
Well, and like
watching.
that's one example of Joakim, and one of the reasons I have always been obsessed with Joakim. He never sugarcoats anything.
Yep.
When he's with the media, he tells them his opinion. And in a case like that, if he thinks that the question he's being asked is stupid, he'll tell you that's a stupid question.
Right, and to rewind back, I think we were talking about this yesterday, but like, sitting around here, but his rookie year, people would go up to him like, and he was a little, his little sideways his rookie year, wasn't going well at the start, the Bulls are losing, and somebody comes up to him like, at practice, like, hey, Joe, is this hard? The losing and the this and that. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm in the NBA. I'm making millions of dollars. No, I play basketball every day. This is not hard. I'm like, thank you for saying that too. Because no, it's not hard. You're 24 years old. You walk out of here. There's, the whole world is your oyster. Like, and then you go to the United Center. Come on, man. It can't be hard. I mean, there's some pressure in there, and I get it. But like, you're a really good basketball player. You're gonna, in his world too. Like, hustle guy. That makes it even less hard on some level. Like, just go out there and grind and. The city fell in love with him. He is all-time favorite Bull I mean, dude.
Do you have his number?
I don't. I love, but I
don't think about it. See, you don't do that because Matt will attack you.
But where do you guys come out on? Like, I think 13 should hang from the rafters.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Here's how I frame it. If Bulls fans want to hang up number 1, hang up 13 also.
They both should go up. One needs to be up. Youngest MVP in the history of the league. Come on.
Yep.
Right out of Simeon. Come on. This like Derrick Rose's number should hang at the UC.
But I mean, like I think 1-2 right there. Most impactful Bulls post dynasty. Some might argue Jimmy Buckets, but it's like where was Jimmy Buckets when they were making their furthest run post dynasty to the Eastern Conference Finals? Still playing in Marquette.
There's some people for, some people against, but nobody is for or against Joakim. Like everybody's for Joakim.
And Jimmy was a pain in the ass. He was
point right there.
Hey Mark K down in Australia.
Hey Will,
our beloved friend Will the Goat Golly. Are you listening to this episode? Are you watching this episode? Pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass.
You heard it here.
That's from Joe and from Derek, and Jimmy thought that he was better than Derek at that point.
Yeah.
And at that point, Jimmy couldn't hold Derek's fucking jock. That's the reality. Now I'm not credit to Jimmy on where he's gotten.
Oh yeah,
to.
absolutely.
Huge credit.
Yeah,
I wish Jimmy was still a Bull all day long. At the guy's a phenomenal player, but like let's be real here. He's as far as his career with the Bulls, we're not hanging that banner. The other banner I think we're gonna go old school, and he could have been treated better by the franchise. And I hate after people are gone doing stuff like that. But Norm Van Leer's number should hang up there too,
without question.
Number 2 should hang. Heart and damn soul.
Yes.
Right.
And
when you think about what he contributed to the franchise, not only as a player, but then after his playing days,
100%.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah.
That matters. Let the heartbeat of your team, let those guys be up there. This is not a courtroom. You don't have to be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Joe's up there playing for the guy in the last row, and
and that's an example of a player representing an organization spanning a reach of multiple generations. You guys are old enough to remember the pre-MJ or certainly young MJ days. I just caught the tail end of the dynasty. Right. There are younger Bulls fans even still who have never seen a championship in their lifetime. But like Norm Van Leer, obviously way too old for me to have seen play basketball. But my childhood not only was about watching MJ and Scotty and Rodman, but it was about watching Norm Van Leer on pre and post game every night.
That's true. 48 minutes of intensity. Yeah, he was definitely a part of all that, man. And just knowing how important he was to the game as well. And the last dude to wear 23 also. So he was all those things, man.
I miss Norm. I remember Norm being on overnight radio. Somebody calls up one time and they're like, and they're going at Spike Lee, and I mean I'm driving. It's late at night. I'm driving. I'm like half asleep, and all of a sudden Norm just freaks. He's like, you can take that Spike Lee nonsense. We're right back where you come, and nobody says a word about Jack Nicholson. So he was hearing it as racist, and he went at it, and I'm like, I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic radio. I never would have thought of that angle, and I love where you're coming from. And by the way, Spike was sweet. That part of the rivalry.
Yeah, Spike was always just being a fan of what was going on the floor.
Right. I remember him being in the underneath in the '98 year.
Yeah.
And I guess I was interviewing Spike, standing there, I went up to him, and Phil's walking out, and Spike just starts yelling at Phil, and so I'm kind of trying to chime in and get it all on tape, but it was like it was fun. It was
that kind of stuff.
It was great.
Can I ask you? I want to ask you this: how after those moments you just stated that were honestly sending a lot of people running for the hills, you know what I'm saying? After that kind of question and getting that response, what kept you going?
Oh, you can't see. I mean, as much of I don't know. I've doubted myself at times, what the hell am I doing in this business? But ultimately, you got to believe in yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I don't. If you're trying to be interesting, if you're trying to, you're not. I'm not gonna stop just from asking a question. I understand, and I don't know. For some reason, I just. Whatever that muscle I have built, I don't really care what you think. That's
it's a great muscle to have.
It's okay. this is the entertainment business. That was entertaining. So
sometimes happy accidents, right?
Yeah, like
when you don't necessarily think through all the possible avenues and context of a question you ask and realize halfway through asking it that it's a dumb question.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can turn into something entertaining.
Right, and I mean, come on, we've all been there in some way, shape,
for
or form.
sure.
So come on,
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll tell you what like. I think what does bother me more is like missed opportunities where you're in there and you were too afraid to say something, and then you're sitting with it and like you missed that. You like that's that one like late at night. It's like that's
right.
More like come on, man.
I agree.
Get it out
like
there.
when we could have, when we were chatting with Jim Boylen, asked him, "Hey man, are you insane?" to his face, but we didn't take that opportunity.
Did you have him
that
on?
wasn't a we thing.
Did you have him on over there?
We didn't have him on a show. We went and chatted with him at a couple of Bulls events that we were invited to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It went from, hey, all right, yeah, we like to drink a beer with you, to I never want to see you ever again in my life.
Yeah, he was. Well, I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but I will. He was like, him and Cap had some level of relationship. So we had like. I would used to have coffee with Cap in like the mornings in one weird like Cap stanza, and like Boylen lived around the corner from me.
Yeah.
So like we're literally having coffee with Boylen one morning, and he was super nice.
Yeah,
he
is.
He
Very
was
nice guy.
But the Boylen moment for me was when they hired him. Pax is at the Advocate Center introducing him. Like, you know, we're excited about this. He's taking some questions. Boylen is standing in the herd with the media, like on his tippy toes, listening to what Pax is saying. And I'm like, this is weird, dude. Like, why are you like you shouldn't care what he's saying, and like this is just really odd behavior.
Yes. Look into this. Let me help you out.
So the Blackhawks.
Anytime we say that man's name,
It's a standard issue
thing.
neuralizer
Yeah,
for Men in Black.
I feel you.
Yeah.
What
What were you talking about?
Like, oh my god.
I don't even. I call him the bald-headed menace. I don't say
The Blackhawks guys have their Stan Bowman jar.
Yeah.
We have our neuralizer for Jim.
I can't even believe the conversation got that far.
Well,
Oh
I
my
was so
God.
shocked.
I won't say.
Because I was so taking it in right now. I'm so focused on that. Yeah.
Shout out to my buddy Danny Parkins, whose take at the time was like, it's just kind of amazing to me that you looked all around far and wide in the whole world to find the best coach to possibly leave, and somehow miraculously he was just sitting right here.
Right.
What is that was a great take at the time. Like, what is the chance of that?
Yeah.
Look here.
I think it's right around the same time, and either the same or different interview with Pax, he basically got Pax to admit that he was afraid to tamper when everyone else in the NBA was tampering. Great interview. Great interview.
Yeah.
All right, we got a little bit more time left. We'll actually get some Carm's thoughts on what's going on with these Bulls right here and right now.
Yes.
But first, Big Dave.
Yeah.
Foco.com.
Chicago. You've already got the best coverage of your favorite teams, so get fitted in the best sports gear around there. Foco is what it's called, and they got you covered from Soldier Field to the lunchroom, to the north side, to the south side, to the UC, anywhere they got you covered, y'all. Hook it up. Slippers, signs, bobbleheads, hoodies, everything in between. I don't know if they got no Birks, but we'll check it out and see. Get decked out like DeMar with that apparel from the leader in sports merch and collectibles. Again, they're called Foco. Looking for the perfect gift for that football fan in your life? I know you are. Foco's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze or that Lake Michigan monsoon. Either one, they got you covered up. Check out Foco.com and get that shirt too also, y'all. Check out Foco.com or click the link in the description below for all the non-pre-sale items. Use the promo code CHGO, 10% off. Because it's Foco, faux show.
Love
There it
that.
is. You see what he did?
Love that.
I'm pulling it up right now, baby.
But for the record, they do not sell Birks. I checked.
You checked? Okay.
I checked.
All right.
It's okay.
We'll
they
get
sell
on it.
damn near everything else
This is
on the
true.
planet that you could possibly want.
This is a fact.
To clothe yourself, to warm yourself,
Yes.
accessories that are fun. Before we move on, this comment from Daddy Fish just slayed me. Boylen killed all my Bulls friends over 45. I literally have nobody to talk basketball with.
He did.
I mean, That year and a half, or
man.
however long, it felt like a decade that he was at the helm.
Carm,
Killed a lot of people.
If you were in the studio with Matt when we would do the show, you would see.
I remember the
how
tweets
each
for sure.
You would see how each one of us would get broken, like every game. Matt was always the first. He was then the season start. He was the first one to break, and then John would be the next one, and then me. I'm always. It went in that order, but everybody had a breaking moment where their brain just exploded.
It was so. His press conferences were so unbelievably painful.
The preparing the children for the road. I was like, I am all the way done.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man, that was just my
So
brain.
after enduring all of those years as a Bulls fan, and as addition to someone who works in Chicago sports, like, what was it like for you to watch this past season, which was the first relevant, enjoyable Bull season in a really long time?
So it was super fun. I think to basically fall back in love again is how I would call it.
Yes,
Like
absolutely right.
Like I did not. One of my buddies who's a scout in the league. When we signed DeMar, he's like, dude, that's your best player. And I'm like, like my thoughts on DeMar was of him getting his ass kicked by LeBron in the playoffs. And I'm like, really, he's our best player? You're telling me he's better than Zach, really? And then it proved out.
Lo and behold,
it was that. He's like, dude, DeMar's nice. Yeah. And then and I also I kind of had like a weird thing with Caruso because rooting against the Lakers and rooting against LeBron, like I didn't really know how much I would appreciate that guy.
Right.
So it was. I thought I had a ton of fun last year. Ton of fun. And then we all. It's looking ahead to this year and the same thing with last year. Like, if Lonzo's around, how much better do they do? Nobody knows the answer to that, but we all would like to have seen it. And I also, like, for me, like, the IO thing was just incredibly enjoyable because I was fighting people on that too because I saw IO, up, courtside at Northwestern, and I'm like, this dude's like, that is an NBA player all day. The way that is absurd, athletic, 5 strides, boom, ridiculous layup. I'm like, people are like, yeah, you can't shoot. I'm like, I'm telling you, that guy's gonna play in the league all day. Like, and then the Bulls took him, which old school Bulls like, local guy, not gonna do it. So that part of the year was super fun, and it'll be real interesting to see how he gets off to. How much they use him and what kind of start he can get off to this year. He's certainly going to get an opportunity, I think, with everything going on with Lonzo.
Who are you most excited to watch? Is it Io's progression and continuation? Is it Patrick Williams? Who are you most excited
I'm hyper focused on Patrick.
Okay.
And I mean, I was reading some people think that that he's getting too much of. Darnell Mayberry wrote a good piece in The Athletic. Like, look, he's not going to have the ball enough to really see what he's going to do. And I think it's a good point. Like, DeMar's going to have
the 5th option.
Yeah, but like, I don't know how exactly creatively they can do that, but like, he should be. Hopefully, I would love to see him leading the second unit.
Yes,
and like, let's go put the ball in his hands and give him a 3, 4, 5 minute window. Let's see what this guy can do to late in the first quarter, start the second quarter, and take some pressure off of Zach and take some pressure off of DeRozan.
Yeah,
so those minutes will be super interesting to me. I don't know if they'll do it that way, but I'd love to see it.
I think that's how it's going to happen because I think we also seen. He likes having the ball in his hands, and he likes setting up the offense and doing things. I think he's more comfortable in that, and he'll do that with the second unit if he gets a chance.
Right, and I think we all know that. Look, this team is not a championship contender,
right.
and so you got to be looking to how can we develop them? What's the future looking like? Who's gonna be able to? I mean, obviously Zach is now in it for another 5 years, but like, how long was DeMar do? What do we do with Vooch after the year? I mean, if the year goes sideways, does he get dealt? What kind of return you're going to get. I'm sure it's not going to be that much, but that guy's, if we're going to do something this year, he's going to have a huge season.
Sure.
So but I mean, on the tweet, like, are the Bulls top 6? I'm like,
no, you don't see it?
Well,
I mean, run through it. I assume you got Boston, Milwaukee, and Philly somewhere like around the top 3.
Right. The Hawks have added DeJounte Murray, like.
Do you buy the Hawks jumping into a top 6 spot?
I buy
more or less so than Cleveland.
That's the other thing. So now
and by the way, Brooklyn's still there.
Cleveland's better. Cleveland's better. Atlanta's better. Brooklyn's better.
Yeah. It's tough. Like, I think I can't say with as much strength, as I was saying it previously, that they're a top 6 seed. I can't really say it as that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Especially after this move.
It's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
now,
far from a certainty.
Yeah, because now it's just basically belief and things like that now, more so where you could tangibly show it to people. You know what I mean? That's a heck of a move getting Donovan Mitchell there. We'll see how it works out for them and things, but the Bulls are still really good.
Right. I say the conference is super competitive, right?
Yes,
So,
correct.
and I like the team. Yeah. I think they're a fun team to watch. I think there's a certain level of chemistry on the team that makes them enjoyable. So, look, is Zach healthy? Is he back to being Zach? And I watching it last year, like I thought going in the summertime, if Zach leaves, which I didn't think was going to happen, I don't think most people didn't, but like, does he really want to play with DeMar having the ball in his hand? Like, when you don't have Lonzo, now DeMar's bringing the ball up. Now he's standing over here. Now he's dribbling out. Like that couldn't have been super fun for him to play with. So I like to like that. Will DeMar step back a little bit? Let Zach go forward. Same thing with Patrick. I don't know. The whole Goran Dragic thing, I think that's a non-factor, I guess.
Right. I mean, like the continuity thing is something we've discussed a lot this offseason. In addition to Drummond and Dragic just being veteran, depth for your bench, the other hopeful additions that I think the Bulls front office is banking on is not missing Caruso and Lonzo for a combined 100-some games.
Right. Yeah. Because they even talked about it last year when they were asked why didn't they make any moves at the deadline. They were like, well, this guy isn't here and he's coming back. This guy's here.
Right.
They felt like those were their free agent moves. They just were
we were chatting the other day about how their projected starting 5 of Lonzo, Zach, DeMar, Pat, Vooch in their small sample size right out of the gate had like a +10 net rating.
Yes. They really
Theoretically speaking,
Right.
they had a good squad.
Right. And is Lonzo back by mid-year? Nobody knows.
See,
knows.
It's looking more and more likely that he will certainly not be ready to start the season. He will miss all of training camp, and then it's just a question of what month does he show up and try to play again.
Yeah, and is he healthy, and how long does it take for him to get back up to speed, and what chemistry is developed at that point that he's got to come into? And by the way, we still want you to shoot the basketball better, and we'd like to see you get in the paint too, which would be sweet. Yeah. Along with doing the guarding at an elite level.
Yeah. It's a lot.
So if you're Billy Donovan, who do you throw into that starting Lonzo spot first? Is it Ayo because of what he showed you his rookie year? Is it Caruso because he's a vet who can bring the ball up at times in addition to his defensive skills? He can create a little bit offensively. Is it Dragic? Which of those 3 are you trying first in the starting 5?
Right, none of them are super exciting, right?
You don't love any of the options.
Yeah, I think I'm going. I think I'm going with Ayo. Let's see if we can have a bounce going into year 2. Also with a slight eye to the future at the same time.
Yes.
So that's how I would roll it. And plus, like Caruso, you can bring if Ayo's struggling, you can bring him at the 1. You want to steal some minutes for either Zach and or DeMar. You want to go small and play. Well, you can bring him in a whole host of ways, and he's gonna play his 30+ minutes a night. So I think that's just a natural 6-man with Alex. If it's Dragic, it's a problem. Like that's better
starter.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he's. Like I'm hoping that Kobe White gets more minutes than him. Like
no love
you want to see Kobe ahead of Dragic in the depth chart.
Oh man,
Kobe. I know that the Bulls fans aren't excited about Kobe, but like, listen, Kobe can get hot. He provides something that they don't have. They need more shooting.
Definitely.
And I. Also, with eye to the future, I'm not really quite ready to give up on it, even though I get it. It's highly unlikely that he's going to be here long term.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about old man Dragic, like I'd rather see Kobe out there.
Yeah.
For me, this is Kobe's best year to do anything because it's all set up for him. Like everything is kind of removed that they're like, we kind of need you to work on. We kind of need you to develop. All of that's kind of removed this year. They have all those other pieces around them that can do the things that they want them to do.
They're not asking him to be a starting point guard.
We're not asking you to be a point guard. We're not asking you to be a great defender. We're not asking you to be the guy to facilitate. You know what I'm saying?
Shoot the rock.
Just come in and get hot.
Come in, get hot, get these buckets, and ignite the crowd.
Right.
Can we do that? You know what I'm saying? And he can do that. He can definitely do that. We just need to see consistent.
He's shown it time and time again, right? But that's the thing.
That's
consistent. What are we getting tonight? Okay, all right, fine. You're 0 for 4 and you're playing 8 minutes tonight. We'll roll you out. We'll roll out you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
and it's like it seems like he's been sort of a forgotten man this offseason. All the talk about Lonzo's health, Zach's contract, a big third year for Pat. Can we get a bounce back year from all these talking points? Can DeMar replicate what he did last season? Kobe's been this forgotten man, especially without an extension on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
But I did notice the Bulls social media, like the official Bulls Twitter account yesterday, and I'm guessing also on Instagram, put up a quick vid and some snapshots of Kobe getting work in yesterday.
Not mad at that. He's working a lot on his handles in the offseason, too, I've been noticing. So, yeah, he's not focusing so much on being that point guard, but more so getting his own shot.
It's a great point by Peck, too. Like, that stuff actually matters.
Yeah.
If they know that they're trying to don't put any videos out.
Right.
But
yeah.
I think that is a little peek behind this guy might actually have a shot this year to do something. So let's give him some love.
It makes me think of that shot that went kind of quasi-viral on Bulls Twitter. The COVID 2021 season when no media was around or whatever, but they were still playing the games in empty arenas. And AK was in the tunnel coming out at the end of a game. And he was giving high fives to guys. And Zach got a high five. And Thad gets a high five. Yeah. And Lowry is there. And then AK just turns around and walks away.
He's gone. He won't
and bye.
And you're done.
And he was,
Let me, the guy here on the team also who's been super polarizing is Vooch. You know what I'm saying? You either love him or you hate him. Where do you stand on Vooch, and what do you see from him this season?
I have a love-hate with him, I think, like everybody else. But see, this is where I get to my old school. Like, I like a big who can actually protect the paint. Like, and I know that that's not the league now. So to me, Vooch. Now so I want him playing at the 4, and now, like, okay, what force can he actually guard? And none, right? And so it's a problem. So I didn't, and I think I'm getting proven wrong on that, but I didn't love the trade. Like, I wasn't even willing to. I'm like,
were you high on Wendell, or are you mad about the draft
I wasn't high on Wendell, but I wasn't willing to say that this guy just sucks. Like energy 10-10 big, and again the league today, Wendell Carter's way better in the 80s and 90s than he is now. So and I guess my overall thought process was like, where are you going with this dude? You guys you're going to be a middle of the pack team. Like, I know that you want to be relevant again. I know that you want people to be at the United Center. I know the narrative around the team sucks, and you want to get back to some level of we're a competent team. And there's no real.
He had a down year for the Bulls, unquestionably, and then the back third after the trade of the first games he played with the Bulls. You had Zach coming in and out of the lineup because of injuries and COVID. You had a totally overhauled roster. He basically got brand new Bulls teammates in his first full season. A lot of adjustments to make. When they made that trade, he was a 2-time All-Star who averaged 20 and 10 and shot 40 from 3.
Right.
Like, that made sense.
Yeah.
For someone to come in and legitimize them right away, not to mention the fact that he was a respected vet on a descending contract that didn't have more than a couple years left on it.
All of that makes sense, and I guess just my overall thing is like, are we trying to hit a home run here, or are we trying to be just a playoff team in the league? And to me, it's like let's hit the home run, let's go for the whole ball of wax here, and to me, like, but you could also make the argument you gotta walk from crawling, and that's where we're at. And now
AK and Eversley had like culture image repairing to do as well. It's hard to hit those home run deals as an NBA front office if every other organization in the league is looking at you like y'all are a dumpster fire,
right? And so. Yeah, and nowadays, like, who are you getting in the draft, and the lottery can go which way or the other.
Right.
So I get it, and maybe like swinging on a guy like Patrick Williams, like we're betting on the high ceiling here. The same thing they're doing with Dalen Terry, who's probably was not the best basketball player going at that, but has the highest ceiling. Like they're trying to somehow, some way, squeeze you this thing into we got enough talent to do this, and maybe we'll get lucky in free agency. So I give them a ton of credit for how they've turned it around.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have signed DeMar either. As
Yeah.
far as last year went, wrong. I was incorrect.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Did you choose the verb squeegee there just because Bears?
Yeah, I probably.
Is that why that word was kicking around in your brain?
It was somehow, some way in there. Shout out to Will DeWitt with the video and getting a ton of views on that whole thing.
Gracious.
Yeah.
Quick Bears question. Packers week, man. Coming up. The huge week. Who we got, man?
I mean, let's live the dream. Let's live the
That
dream,
sounded
babe.
like the least convincing vote of confidence in the Bears.
I'm the positive person here, and even I don't buy that.
Let's not take any chips off the table.
All right.
That being said, I'll be picking the Packers.
Well, I hope you're 0-2.
I mean,
I hope you're 0-2.
Right.
Will you also be taking the Packers to cover on PointsBet?
No.
You think the Bears can keep it close?
No, I do. Until the Bears get smoked, I'm going to believe that this whole try-hard Bears, well-coached, overachieving, like this, that they're going to hang in games. Okay. So I don't know where the spread is at today, but 9.5, 10. I'll take the Bears to hang in there.
Okay, all right.
But
I love it.
I do love it.
Sadly, we are out of time. Once more, appreciation, thanks, and a round of applause for Mark Carman for joining us. Double duty today.
I appreciate y'all having me. Great to be here. It's ton of fun. Thank you so much.
You're welcome anytime. Go back and watch today's CHGO Bears show with Mark Carman. And keep an eye on that CHGO Bears coverage leading up to Sunday Night Football. Bears
Let's go.
at Lambeau. Follow Mark on Twitter at the Carm for his brutally honest takes about the world of Chicago sports.
How many days till training camp? What do we got? Where we going?
September 26th is media day.
Correct.
We are getting close.
Getting so close, man.
Can't wait.
Getting close.
Can't wait, man.
Shout and appreciation to our producer and our guy, Joey, running things behind the scenes as always.
Doing 16 things.
Big Dave is at BWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Pack. We are CHGO_Bulls. We got Will the Goat Gottlieb back with us for our fun episode tomorrow. And then he and Mark K will have Bulls HQ for you guys in your podcast feeds on Friday. What's up, Joey?
Happy birthday, Will.
That's right.
Hey, the big 3-0.
Goat Gottlieb turns the big 3-0 today.
Old as shit today.
I hope he's off having all of whatever they drink in Brazil. I don't know what do they drink in Brazil?
Alcohol. That's the
No,
Will,
but
I will take 10% off the price of Shengun just for today only.
there's no way. You can't let him have Shangoon, Joey.
Don't let him do it. Don't do it.
All right, y'all, stay tuned. We got some baseball post-game coverage coming up for you guys later on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe to it if you aren't already. Hit that thumbs up underneath today's episode if you liked it. It helps us out a lot. Appreciate you. Love you. Until tomorrow, Bulls Nation. For Mark and Big Dave and Joey, I'm Peck. See you, Red. Be good.
Bye, Sabine.